Hi, I'm Alistair Gibson. I am a prosthetist orthotist here at Skye. I'm also a clinical upper extremity specialist, and today we have Justin, who I'd like to introduce to you. Justin has a very unique story about his circumstance and his amputation. So hi Justin.
Hey Alistair, how's it going?
Good. So tell us a little bit about what happened.
Well, I actually got bit by an alligator, of all things, and it was quite the experience, and I wound up losing my hand.
Wow. So how did that happen?
Well, I actually took some people alligator hunting, and we had a big alligator on a line, and I got another line wrapped around my arm, and then the alligator wound up rolling in a bunch of lines, and we wound up right next to each other, and he turned around and bit me on the arm, and then just started going nuts, and that was it.
Wow. How big was that gator?
He was around 11 feet long.
Oh, that's a big boy.
yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah.
But and then it was quite the mess. He got me on my wrist, not the whole, like my whole arm in his mouth, but he got me on the wrist real good and rolled and kind of ripped my wrist out. But there was a couple nerves from my arm were still attached to my hand, so my hand was still dangling by a couple nerves, but he took the rest, and then he rolled a bunch of times, took off, and then I was standing in the boat with some people, and I actually took my belt off and put it around my forearm as a tourniquet.
Yeah.
And even though you're supposed to put it up high, I put it a little down low, but it still worked good enough. And got on the phone with 911 and told them where we were at. We were in the middle of nowhere in the swamp, and so I told them we'd be back at the boat ramp in about 30 minutes, and hung up with them. And so I wound up driving the boat from where we were back to the boat ramp.
I guess your guests must have been pretty freaked out at this point.
Yeah, we had 3 people in the boat, and 2 were crying halfway through the ride back. So it was interesting. It was more than they had thought was going to happen. So we wound up back at the boat ramp, and a police officer put a real tourniquet up high on my arm, and waited for about 5 minutes for the firefighters to show up, another 5 minutes for an ambulance to show up, and then they finally took me in the ambulance, gave me some pain medicine, and then took me to where a helicopter, to a local high school where a helicopter was going to pick me up and take me to a hospital for the first time. And then I remember we landed there, they took me in, and then they said, you might lose your hand tonight, and then they knocked me out, cleaned everything up. When I woke up out of the first surgery, it was, they told me that they needed to take me to Orlando to a level 1 trauma center. Like there, they could make a better assessment of what was going on. And then when I got there, they kept telling me that night, you might lose your hand tonight. And then they kept doing multiple surgeries, and wound up keeping the hand for about 4 months. And then everything started kind of failing. They tried to reattach it. Things started kind of going downhill. So they wound up having to amputate it about 4 months later.
Okay, now when was that?
That was August of 2019.
Okay. So how long did it take before you were able to get set up for your prosthetic? Talk me through the process you went through and any difficulties that you may have encountered.
So I had 4 months of being in and out of the hospital. We did 15 different surgeries from August to December in 2019. And then in January of 2020, we were finally done with all the surgeries and started looking into prosthetics. And luckily I had a really good surgeon who set me up with a nerve transfer surgery to set me up for a myoelectric hand as my last surgery after my amputation. And he, that helped in the end. There was not a lot of help getting a prosthetic after that. I went to my insurance company, and they denied me, and I did appeals for about a year. And so about a year later, I still had no prosthetic, no process had been started. And my insurance company just kept denying me and saying to appeal it. So a friend got me in touch with a friend of his who had lost his hand in Afghanistan, who was a client of yours for a long time. And so I talked to him, and he told me to give you a call, and because he said that Allistair at Skye could help me out. So I gave you a call, and then you told me how to go through the proper ways to get funding, and then we started doing the process to getting a prosthetic.
So it was quite a long and drawn out process.
Oh yeah. It was about 2 years before I got an approval.
Yeah. So I know it was kind of a long and drawn out process getting the insurance authorization. Can you tell me a little bit about how your experience was working with Skye and how that helped?
Yes, it was actually a really good experience with Skye. I had kind of been jerked around for about a year through my insurance company, and through just applying and getting denied, and trying different insurance policies, and then getting denials out even after I thought I picked a correct one. And then I went to 2 different prosthetic companies prior to Skye. They seem to just be more into lower limb, prosthetics, not upper limb for hands or anything. And they didn't have any prosthetics for me to look at. It was, not a great experience trying to get information out of them, between their websites and everything. And then eventually I started working with Skye, and everything was very positive, and everybody was very helpful, and got a lot of great information, and just being able to have someone that was experienced with upper limb stuff was nice, where instead of having someone say that this is the first time they'd seen an upper limb. The first office I went to, they said that was the first time they'd ever had someone with an upper limb amputation. Wow. And they have offices, all over the country. And this one in Central Florida, they had never seen an upper limb. So that was not what I wanted to hear when I walked in there. The office staff was great. They would call me and even just ask how everything was going, and just to make sure everything was followed up on. And then just to schedule appointments, they would call me, and even send text messages, with instruction or directions. And everything was all my experiences with all the staff was very positive.
Excellent. Glad to hear. I know you work, and you continue to work. Can you talk a little bit about what you do and how having your prosthetics has made your job a little easier?
Sure. I actually do taxidermy for a living. Okay. So, and being a taxidermist, we work with your hands a lot, and that was a pretty significant thing to have happen when you lose a hand. And of course I was right-handed, so I lost my dominant hand, so I had to learn how to do everything with my left hand, and then just being able to do all these simple little things with one hand and being my left hand, it was very hard, and it was very difficult to do what I had already previously done for work, and kind of set my life up for over the last 10 years to continue doing that work with one hand. And so then getting a prosthetic allowed me to do pretty much everything that I used to do, just a little differently. But just being able to hold things, and just holding something while your other hand does some intricate little work. It's very important. It's something you don't really think about. Sometimes you have to use your teeth to open stuff, and sometimes you don't want to stick something in your mouth. So it's exactly. Having a prosthetic definitely helps.
How long did it take for you to adjust to the prosthesis after you got it?
Gosh, even that night that I brought it home, I was playing with it and able to do a lot of, simple little things. Even something like Ziploc bags, have always been a problem with me, and trying to open them up and things like that were much simpler. But over the next month or two, everything got a lot simpler. I figured out how to use things, how the prosthetics work, and little tricks to how I like to do some things. And trial and error. I'd try one thing and didn't like how that turned out, so I tried holding something a different way, and it was awesome. It was maybe about a month or two before I was really comfortable with using them. Okay.
And is your socket comfortable?
Yes, it's very comfortable.
So you can wear it all day long doesn't bother you?
Yes, it's very comfortable. I'll wear it, for 6-7 hours at a time and not have any discomfort. I know we went through a lot of fittings getting there, and having little spots that were irritated, but you were able to figure them all out and fix them, and it's very comfortable.
Great. Okay. So I'm hoping that everybody found this video interesting. If you or anybody that is looking for more information and needing some help or some advice, please contact us. We're available at Skye Prosthetics and Orthotics. So my name is Alistair Gibson. I am a board certified prosthetist orthotist and Florida licensed prosthetist orthotist. I have over 30 years experience, and the majority of my career I've been working in upper extremities. So if you or anybody you know has a need for more information and would like to discuss it, please call us at Skye. We're here to help. Skye Orthotics and Prosthetics, right care, right place, right time.